Welcome back to Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. Tonight, we are focusing on participation of women in politics as we get closer to the general election. What are the barriers and what are the bridges when it comes to participation of women in politics? Dr. Mwatha, political parties are on the chopping board tonight. How else can we ensure that they are more accountable than they are at the moment?
Thank you. I think the one way of doing that is using one of the political party acts clauses that talks about funding of the political party. Main political parties, major political parties. We have what we call the major political parties and the smaller parties. The major political parties get some funding from the government, but they have a responsibility of accounting. Political party members must hold a party to account before it gets the next funding, just like in government. But the question is, you can't hold a political party to account if you are not a member of the party.
That's very important. Thank you, Dr. Our next question of the evening is from Brian Oma Odeka, all the way from Homa Bay County. Brian, your question, please.
My question will be just very direct. Towards achieving the two-third gender rule, you see, for it to be achieved, we must deal first with the societal values and virtues. And most of the societies today, if not all, but most of the societies and most of the villages, the rural areas, they still uphold a nuclear family. There is a role that they give to women. Number one, most societies believe that women should be bending low in the society. They should be people who are humble. They should be people who are following instructions. But there is this also belief, I don't know whether it is a fact, but I suggest it's a fact, that women that are empowered, especially women that are in politics and that are in power, they no more bend low. They become proud. No wonder I like how Dr. Okop mentioned it and Dr. Martha, that even most women in politics, they are not married. What is happening? That means when they get power, there is that they lose a value of bending low and humility, and I think there is this pride. I think that is what society hates. So my question is, how can we overcome this?
Thank you, Brian, but I need to correct you that when you say that most women in politics are not married. Yeah. That is not a fair comment, and the panel has not said that. But we hear you. I think you're talking about stereotypes, and you could be a victim of these stereotypes from what I can see. But let's get to hear what the panel is going to say. Madam Beatrice, yeah. Stereotypes. You can see how Kenyans think about women and politics. What's your take?
Lord, it is the double standards for me. It is how we view, I mean, it is, and we were just talking about it off air, it is how we are expected to man up during campaigns, but also nurture, our families and be humble and have societal values that the gentleman is claiming. That is just erroneous, and those are some of the things we need to deconstruct. What I hope and wish for is that we can move as a country from such mundane issues as whether or not I am married or whether or not I am a good husband, I'm a good wife to my husband, to what am I bringing to the table? What are some of the policies I am proposing? Why? What's my experience? What innovative skill am I bringing to the... Let us move our politics and our political discussions to issues-based as opposed to who I'm married to and whether or not, because that's personal trivial, issues. To personal issues. Yes. Let us move to issues that actually matter. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Okoth, I'm a father to 2 daughters. I'm very worried tonight because if you hear, if this is what women face when they join politics, then I'm really worried. Now you're a lecturer. Yeah. KCU University, isn't it? Now, what do you teach students? I mean, if they're going to come out of university and college with such stereotypes, where are we headed? What do you tell your students?
First, women are not just humble. Women are strict, women are firm, women have values, and women have held many families together in the absence of men. So let's look at it that positively. So the meaning of humility does not mean stupidity. When you're talking about being submissive, let's first of all remember a woman can only be submissive to a man who respects and upholds her. So based on that, we have to remove all these social stereotypes. And listening to the young man, I see what I was just saying, patriarchy. It is so ingrained in us that we have this particular way women should behave, but no particular way men should behave. When we bring that to politics, it affects us. I look at you, I don't know, you look younger than 30, and I'm thinking, the people you talk to whom might now be like maybe in their teens, they're going to grow up thinking that, okay, as a woman, I should not speak up. As a woman, this should not be happening. And those are the things that have held our society back. When women can't speak up, yet they're the ones who are talking to all the children in the village, it means our social issues are not being brought up to the parliament. So I think when it comes to stereotypes, let's unlearn. Because where the world is going now, especially with this 2/3 gender rule, in the civil society, in the academic sector, with the NGOs, a lot is happening and the gender rule is already successful. It is only in our government, let me say in Africa, not just in Kenya, or maybe the world over, where we are still having a challenge, and it's still because of this patriarchal issue. And patriarchy is not an African issue. If you look at Europe, it's such a patriarchal issue, it's not an African issue. And it's time people started looking at women as colleagues, as partners, as fellow leaders, not as women to be like, I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can talk about women like forever.
Thank you. I can see it's flowing in your veins. Now, Dr. Mwatha, there was a study that was carried out by FIDA about women candidates in politics. And they cited actually 3 barriers, which we are discussing tonight. One is nomination by political parties, which we have touched on. The other one is funding for political campaigns, which we have touched on. And the last one, which is what we are discussing, is gender and cultural and social stereotypes. Dr. Mwatha, you are a lecturer. You teach students in Kenyatta University. You teach sociology. My biggest problem is our young people that we are churning out of our colleges and universities. I've asked the same question to Dr. Okoth. How can we ensure that they don't graduate with these stereotypes and mindsets? Because that's the only way of changing society.
Thank you. We actually do teach about perceptions, social norms, stereotypes, and we also do teach about the fact that politics is about power and control. Remember that we come from a society where we have been indoctrinated into this through socialization. So we cannot change it overnight or within the 4 years. It is actually after learning that somebody wills to get out of this. And we must also, I would like us to appreciate that some of the key laws that have been passed in this country, like the Anti-FGM Act, were driven by women. If you remember Honorable Jabi Kilimo, we worked with her a lot, and Sophia Abdinur. And the laws to do with marriage, defining what is an African marriage, the laws on protection from domestic violence. Women suffer most of that. So men won't remember to say, oh, let's have a law on prevention from domestic violence, because he's possibly the one enjoying slapping somebody. But, but if you are the one being slapped every day, you might remember, oh, my sister is always battered, let me talk about this. And therefore we change laws. So perceptions take time to change, and it is a personal will to change that. And we do teach about that.
Thank you, Dr. Martha. Let me take my last question of the evening from Weru Tegeda. Weru is from Meru County.
We've seen that majority of the cases in Kenya, the women are being empowered. There's even the upbringing of the two-third gender role concept, right? I'd be wrong if I say, or I would be wrong if I said that majority of the countries where the women are in power have, even in Corona period, have been noticed to be the most improving states. But we usually have a major problem. It's hard to find a lady putting herself out, including some of our panelists, to get into the positions of into the electoral positions. So what are we going to do to ensure that the women get out there and become more of the politicians and they support each other to getting into those positions?
Thank you, Weru. Beatrice, women are not coming out. You see, he's even talking about the panel. I think maybe it's you. You need to come out and declare you're running for a seat.
Eventually. My Nakuru people, I will come back home. So let me begin by saying the notion that women do not support other women is wrong. I look at spaces like the civil society space. We have so many female CEOs. It's amazing. And we've been able to see how that industry has grown just by embracing more women. In media as well. So the only challenge we are facing, and world over, is the political side. What can we do about it? There are women who've been there, done that. We really need to introduce the aspect of mentorship, because it doesn't really make sense. A few women on top and a huge gap in between. So the veteran politicians, some who are retiring, some who are off, the political space, even beginning 2022.
They need to mentor.
They need to mentor those of us who are willing to come to the platform. And that way there's continuity.
Oh, thank you. I've run out of time, and I'll give each of you about 10 seconds to give your closing remarks. Dr. Okoth.
Okay, I'll answer your question too. I'll say, here on KTN, there's a Miss President show, which is nurturing and mentoring many women through training. And a lot of those women from season 1 have gone ahead to campaign for positions in the political sector.
Brilliant.
Second season, the same. That is one way of helping women to stand there. My final sentiments, ladies and gentlemen, let's stand up for the voice of everyone. If a woman wants to vie, support them in whichever way. If your support just means telling them, I believe in you, do that.
Thank you. Madam Beatrice, your closing comment?
2 things. 1, just as it is ingrained in law that it is a right for you to access quality healthcare, quality education, Article 27 of the Constitution of Kenya states that 2/3 gender role, the gender principle, is a right, and let us treat it as such. 9th August, go out, vote for women. Let's have more female representation.
Thank you. Dr. Martha?
I think I want to say 2 things. One, because I see a lot of young women here, we should not be intimidated and be told that women are fighting, women are disagreeing. Yes, we disagree, and it's okay. It's still okay to be on different panels, to be different sides of the coin. So just like men fight, actually they fight. Even us, we disagree. So I want to say that let us encourage each other, let us encourage our sisters, and even our young brothers to join political parties and to be engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's where the curtains fall on this week's edition of Impact Kenya with me, Jason Nyantino. It's been wonderful having you on the show, and it's a good time to also be part of this discussion by responding to this question. Do you think our political playing field is fair to women? Do you think our political playing field is fair to women? Engage with us using our contacts on your screen. We'll be happy to know where you're watching us from and what you think about this subject. And on behalf of my production crew, until next week, it's good night.